We flew in actually in the evening, which I think was great because after a night's full of rest, we went to explore the city and the weather was great. We had our first full English breakfast, which I think kept us energized throughout the day. Went to Daunt Books and finally got myself a book. And I've always wanted to visit this bookstore because I also wanted to check out the new titles all in English. And I finally got the Daunt Books tote, which has been on my list for a while. And of course, we had a little mini break at Greg's. More on our explorations on the first day, we went to the London Graphic Centre, which was a really nice store full of stationery and art supplies. I think this is one of the most massive ones I've seen. Cute. This is always an excuse for me to research and have a look at new and upcoming stationery that I probably have not seen in recent times. Also stumbled upon copies of my book, The Art of the Travel Journal. Always a proud moment seeing it in stores and basically in the wild, so this was a very proud mom moment for me and is definitely a core memory. Next up, we went to Glossier since we were already in Covent Garden, and this is one of my favorite beauty brands, and I always love visiting the stores. This was a huge store. I also got this perfume as part of my haul. Now, would you be surprised that I spent maybe a good hour figuring out what to get at the Movement shop? It is a small shop, but they do have a lot of goodies and a lot of Moomin themed items. I love Moomin, huge fan. I finally also decided to get a keychain for my new apartment, so it was a challenge figuring out what I wanted to get.
In London, proof of life.
Present and Correct has been on my list for the longest time. I'm glad I finally got to visit. The owner, Neil, was so nice. I got to look around and obviously take some ephemera with me. He collects these from different parts of the world and I love the selection, and I managed to take some home with me as well. Hello, day one debrief. We just got back to our Airbnb and it's an interesting space because it is the lower ground floor, so we don't get that much sun. Anyway, it was a very full shopping day and this is proof. I got the Daunt Books bag in green. I was debating between green or blue. But yeah, we went to a lot of stores today and also managed to tick off most of the stationery shops that were on my list. The plan was initially to hit 2 museums for this trip, but instead, like we would do 1 museum per day, but then tomorrow we'll just go to 2 museums, which me and Gabs, she's there, are both really... You wanna say hi? Just say hi. Hi. I was debating between like the Transport Museum or the Postal Museum, and both of them are topics that really interest me. So in the end, we just decided to do both. And also, we capped off our day with a really nice Filipino meal, but it was huge. Like the portions were huge. So we actually took home half of it and we're going to have it for breakfast tomorrow, which I think ended up being a good resolution. So we don't feel like we overstuffed. But yeah. It was interesting. I feel like I was so overstimulated and I haven't been so overstimulated in a while. In a way, it reminded me a lot of New York, but also not, you know? So, yeah, it's also funny just hearing everyone speak in English because, you know, we live in Berlin and that also happened, but you kind of hear like 3 to 4 languages in the subway. So, it's time to rest. Cozy vibes only. I've been to London in 2013, but I actually never took the tube back then. So this was my first time taking the tube. Is it tube? Tube? Someone tell me in the comments. But I actually don't hate it as much. I think at first I felt very claustrophobic because for some reason some stations are a bit too tight. But otherwise the rides are fine. I guess it gets warmer in the summer, so that may be something that would be different had I come at a later time. I wanna take a moment to show you some of the posters I've seen throughout some of the stations, and I really appreciate them. It's from the Transport of London and it's really well made.
Agenda.
Cap Day. It's a bit sunny. We're going to
The Transport Museum.
London Transport Museum. We stopped for matcha Genki, some of you recommended this place, and we walked to the London Transport Museum, which was our first museum of the day. I knew I wanted to get into a museum that housed public transport because that is one of my random interests that I really love, not just with typography but also with how public transportation started back in the day.
We are in
A very old London train, but look at that.
Abbey Road.
Apart from seeing those massive structures, I love leafing through these drawers because they had all this ephemera, old tickets, postcards, ads, and this is all visual reference for me. I love seeing how the timetables were designed, and we went into this room which just had like a lot of posters about public transport. There's an entire gallery full of posters. Seeing all of this design and typography just makes my designer heart really happy. I was so ecstatic to see all of this still displayed in this museum.
Fairness Farm.
Oh, show. Of course, I went crazy at the museum shop. I managed to snag a couple of postcards to send to friends and an enamel pin for a souvenir. Next on our agenda was the Postal Museum. I love airmail, sending mail, anything related to post. We took the mail rail, which was really cool.
People. So if you're feeling a little cramped, that's why. And although we have a driver today, the original mail trains were driverless.
Afterwards, we went to the other building where they had an exhibition featuring all these lovely posters, as well as some of the artifacts that were used for sending mail. I love anything that is correspondence related, so this was a visual treat, as well as something new that I discovered. I went to the National Postal Museum in DC, so this was similar to that in a way. Also, just for fun, I got to make a custom stamp with my face on it, which was cool. Royal Mail. Wow. Wow, look here. Wow. She delivers mail now. Honorable mention, the museum shop was decorated so nicely, so I just wanted to point that out, so it's a must visit in London. We're headed to the Wallace Space St. Pancras to do a tech check, and it's like almost 4, so we're gonna see if the document camera works in the venue. Quick look at the venue. It's actually quite big, and Gabs is unboxing. What is that? Oh, these are the zines, and then we have the envelopes here. Yeah, this is the UK edition of the zine. I mean, it's still the same, but I printed it in a different quality and it's better, and I added a couple more essays. We have These Abbey Sy labels that we're gonna use. Show and tell. Turned out really, really nice. Okay, we have to pack now. Did a quick initial count during the tech check. It's always nice to have things prepared at least a day before the workshop. Helen was also there. We were sharing the same room, so she was also packing and organizing her materials for the workshop. After tech check, we went to another part of the city to do a quick visit to the Mina Lima store. These two people, Mina and Lima, they are the designers of the Harry Potter franchise, so it was lovely to see the original store. I've been to the one in Osaka, and they had this downstairs gallery which is worth a visit if you want to see the original props that they used for the Harry Potter film. Good morning. We're packing the stuff, but we have to store some of them because it's a lot, and the first class starts in like half an hour. And then this is the area where I will be teaching, teacher's table, and then we have two tables here. So one for 10 and another for 10. Right now, we are packing the kits here. I will show you a finished one that we just finished. This is the batch for the morning 9:45 ones, and they look good. I feel like my only comment is I should have not gotten these because they were hard to seal. I could have just used my stickers, but that's a lesson for future me. So yeah, we're gonna pack the rest so we can prepare for the class. I just want to mention that we were listening to One Direction this whole time we were packing. I just like hyping myself up before a full day of teaching. I'm so grateful that Gabs came to help because not only is she helping out, but she's also one of my favorite people and closest friends here in Berlin. The color is the easiest visual reference you can have.
Abby in her natural habitat.
I did a total of 6 classes in 3 days, and it was so fun to get to meet everyone. Everyone always has a story to tell, especially with the type of journals that they're using. A lot of you were also just starting out, which I think is always a great idea, to be attending a workshop and having no clue, because then you can talk to your seatmates, you can kind of get ideas from the workshop itself. I also love talking to everyone, all of you, because it's always so nice to get to know what you're using, how you're dealing with your own travel journal frustrations. I always joke around and say this is like therapy because I'm happy to help out anyone who's struggling to document, or how to make it better and how to make it easier and how to make it more accessible to be able to capture your travels in a more meaningful way that obviously means the most to you because it is your life and travels. We also checked out Barbara's pop-up downstairs. It looks so good. It was pretty packed the time that we were shopping, so we actually ended up having to queue in line, which I think was fine. We also got to look at some of my merch that was available in one table, and you could say that I was queuing in good company.
We're shopping with Gab and another Gab. We're queuing.
I will show you what I got in a future mid-year journal review video. Afterwards, I had to set up for the second class of the day. I think the first day is always a hit or miss for me. I'm always just kind of gauging the energy of everyone, and also I'm just kind of getting used to teaching. I just have to give some context. I haven't done workshops, like long workshops like these, since August last year for SF in New York. So it was nice to kind of ease into it and get used to presenting. Journal. Favorite food? She was, this is my first time in Europe and in the UK, so. I also tried a different approach to teaching this time around. I did have a presentation, and the second half of the workshop was me doing a demo on a certain spread or page. So that way I didn't have to keep showing everything through my document camera, which I think was fine, but I just really wanted this kind of multimedia experience where I project things also, and it feels more like a class. I noticed everyone was taking notes, like actual notes. So that was so nice to see, because it really felt like everyone was learning and taking notes and making sure that they keep in mind all the things that I mentioned after the workshop. Day 1 just wrapped up. I think time passed by. Oh, hi! Super fast today. And I'm feeling very drained. This is like the holding room. And then the workshop room is that area. So we're gonna head home. And I actually have to clean up. I'm gonna show you all the ephemera that I had to sort through for the workshop. Look at... This is huge. Like... after the class, it becomes like this. So I have to sort through this so it's clean tomorrow and ready for the next set of workshops tomorrow. So I'll see you at home.
I hope you're enjoying this vlog.
Hello.
I'll see you.
Actual POV after work. Day 2 morning class had a bunch of 𝚬𝚬, so we made a stack. But actually, during lunch break, I went around to stamp at the stamp caravan, which is what you're seeing here. Shout out to Alice for coming with me to all the different stamp stations. So every floor had a lot of stamps that were available to stamp on your journals, which I think was great because it's always a fun activity that we journalers do in the stationery community, and every time there are events, it's always a nice way to commemorate how the event went. And I also designed one. It says London Moment, and obviously it was made in brown ink. But yeah, happy to get my stamping done so I can get that out of the way. First time trying pasties. Pasties? They're really good. Yeah. On our way back now, did a side trip to the Harry Potter shop. Very productive.
Yeah. One of the best shops though.
Yeah. Day 2 check-in. I have like 20 minutes until the next workshop and the last workshop for today. So for lunch break, we went to King's Cross because I needed to buy envelopes because I wanted to send mail, and I got stamps. So this was the only size that they had, and I did a quick Google, and apparently it does fit. The C5 does fit. So we went to WH Smith to get these, and then I was like, we're already in King's Cross. We might as well go to the Harry Potter shop and like the platform 9 3/4. Unfortunately, the line was it's like 30 minutes waiting time, and I'm like, yeah, I am a fan, but I don't think I'm gonna wait that long because I have to go back to teach. So we did go to the shop instead, which was really cute. I feel like it's probably the best one. I know it does look very cramped, but I think for the experience, it was really great. I'm such a 9 3/4 girly, and then I asked for wrapping paper, so I will use that in my workshop. I got the ticket. I don't know, felt nice to buy one. And the keychain. Super cute. Hello, POV. I am currently sorting out a pile of ephemera over here. Usually this is what happens after the workshop. And so many people gave me presents today. Thank you so much. Look at this. I'm so excited. Look at this pastel Trader Joe's. It's so cute. And the goal is to fit all of this in my suitcase. So many people sent lovely teas and snacks and goodies from like Czech Republic. Someone even sent me chocolate from Kazakhstan. Everyone was super nice. I think today everyone was a bit more lively, and also they laughed at my jokes, which I feel very validated from. I'm trying to be funny because I think it's a really great way to get to know people. And also I want to write notes later today because there are things that I'm kind of observing from everyone's struggles with travel journaling. And this is also the reason why I do these workshops, because as much as, you say like, oh, you should do travel journaling, but it really is about how you're able to get through the part where it's like, how do you begin? How do you do this? And actually apply it to the real context of traveling and journaling. Also, I finally got the PET tapes that I designed, the kiss cut ones. They're really, really pretty, and I'm so happy how they turned out. So I'm so excited to use this for my future trips. We also printed like extra labels of Abbey Sy, so I have to figure out if I'm gonna bring this back home, but I actually gave away some at the workshop and they were very happy about it. It's like extra ephemera. So yeah, we're gonna put all of this together and see how I'll organize it for day 3 tomorrow.
On our way to dinner.
I don't know if going to Chinatown on a Saturday was a good idea, but we braved the crowds. It was crazy though. We did get dinner at a lovely Singaporean place and had Filipino desserts, but also I just loved walking around Chinatown. It just felt like home. Speaking of home, once we got back to the apartment, I decided to do a full-on postcard writing session. I love sending postcards to friends, so I picked up some stamps at the post office. How is it £3? It's 3 freaking pounds. So I decided to just post them as letters, and I think I only sent 1 postcard and the rest were letters. That's why we got envelopes. For some reason, the tiredness was really kicking in on day 2. So the next day was Monday, and Natasha, one of my good friends, came to help out for day 3. Done with all 3 days, and I'm ready to collapse and watch Hamilton later. This was the cherry on top of our London trip. We had steak at Flatiron. It was so good. They also give you this charm that you drop in this bin, and you get a free soft serve on your way out. We went to watch Hamilton on the West End. This was my first time seeing it live. I had a great time. This was definitely one for the books. It is Tuesday and it is our flight today. Flight's still at 6 p.m. and it's now 11, so we want to be there around 3, and we're in the halfway point, so we just need to take the National Rail to get to Stansted Airport. So just wanted to say bye and say thank you to everyone who went to the workshops. It was a really busy week. Actually, I feel like the days just kind of flew by really fast, and I don't know, it feels like a fever dream. Like everything just happened super fast. We watched Hamilton yesterday. It was great. I feel like it was such a great way to end the trip. I wanted to cry so much. It was such a good show. And yeah, thank you to everyone who came by the Miso Paper pop-up event, said hi. And it was a pleasure being part of the workshops and finally going back and having reason to go back to the UK. I'm gonna get to jotting the rest of my trip, and it's gonna be a busy week, admittedly. Like, I am going to get my keys this week for my new apartment and a lot of things to catch up on once I'm back in Berlin, but I'm excited to actually be back. We were looking at the ordering things earlier and like looking around the streets, and we were both like, kind of miss reading German, even if we're like not so fluent. But yeah, gonna get some work done. Thank you so much for watching this vlog. It is a little bit all over the place, but I feel like it was the most real vlog that I've done without it being too like curated. I mean, this is really the reality of traveling and teaching and doing both and taking a trip in the process of everything. So thank you for watching, and I'll see you on the next vlog. I'll probably show you some of the pages I've done with the travel journals because I'm still going to be sitting down and organizing everything once I'm back. Bye!
Journey on the 1st of June.